Welcome back. Today's edition of Breakfast Live continues here on Times Television. Still coming soon. The program will be our usual segment of what's in the papers. Be on the lookout to find out more stories that have been published in today's papers. You can also have access to the Daily Times newspaper. I had a copy of it on the streets by buying it at only 1,200 kwacha. Now, boardroom conversations are quite essential if we're to make substantial progress in society. That's why we have decided to take it to the boardroom here at Amaredi's Hotel. And joining us is Betchani Tchereni, an economist, to have a conversation with us regarding developments between Malawi and the IMF and the Tourism Month, in line with the sector's contribution to the country's economy. First up, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
I know that you're but still you decided to make it. We don't take that for granted.
Yeah,
I'm wondering what you're doing.
So,
and I'm wondering what you're doing this Tourism Month.
First of all, I need breakfast here.
Can we get breakfast for Mr. Tchereni, please? Thank you.
Yeah.
Perfecto. You're happy?
I'm happy. I need to eat. Tourism Month is a very important month, and for me, I think if you look at the contribution of tourism to the economy of Malawi and the potentials that it has, I just had to be here.
Okay.
I'm an economist.
Now, let's get straight into it. What is your impression of the statement by IMF First Deputy Managing Director Jita Jipnath at the conclusion of our visit to Malawi?
Yeah, you read the statement, you find that there is some positivity. You also find that there's a lot of caution that is being placed on us. You read the statement, you realize that people who are outside this country, they are able to look at some positives into what we are trying to do as a nation. The statement is starting with a lot of positives, and then it ends, of course, with some cautions. In the positives, the statement talks about the efforts which government is undertaking and also the macroeconomic gains. And I think I underlined that aspect, the macroeconomic gains which the country is starting to get from the tough decisions which the government has been taking. Some of those tough decisions, they include, of course, the contractionary monetary policy that has been undertaken by the Reserve Bank, the Monetary Policy Committee in particular. You will have noted that for many people, what they would have loved to see was maybe an expansionary monetary policy to reduce the interest rates so that the cost of borrowing should go down. But we also realize that we are in a country where we are predominantly importing, and people import when they are able to get the resources, and they want to buy the foreign exchange, which is not available. And therefore, if you are going to leave it just open as that, then inflation is going to go outside, above the roof. And so the Reserve Bank and the Minister of Finance have taken those very tough decisions. They are tough, politically not very good decisions to say the least. That's why they're being regarded as tough economic decisions. But also, it does not stop there. The statement goes on to talk about the ever worrying debt situation for the country, both domestic and international foreign debt. It talks about that. It's a well-known fact that our debt is quite a bit uncomfortable. We may not actually say that it is very comfortable for us. It's a bit uncomfortable. It talks about the need for the debt to be restructured. The word that has been used in the statement is debt treatment. That's quite okay. But what I liked most was the statement also that said that we need financing. If we are going to take our development and growth agenda forward, we need some financing. And I think I underlined that, and I smiled in my heart. I said that, okay, if somebody can actually note that the efforts that are being undertaken cannot achieve anything if we do not assist, if we do not help. That's very important, especially when we think about the other IMF programs, such as, in this case, the ECF, the Extended Credit Facility. If we can get the ECF, it's going to be a good thing.
Now, suffice to say that the review which has been made by the IMF is not necessarily different from the first one, which was also made by them. And many would have an opinion to say that Malawi has not necessarily done enough to impress. But around the same time, another IMF team is expected to start work next week. Should we expect a different impression?
Yeah, the team that is coming in next week, it's next week. That's the technical team. So it will be coming to look at the data on the ground. and they are coming here basically to look at the RCF, the Rapid Credit Facility, which came in. That's the staff monitored program. They are monitoring that program as a precondition that if you do well in that program, then you can be granted the ECF. And if you look at what has been happening on the ground, basically the RCF, I think the indicators are actually looking good, that the government has tried to do the best that it could do with the RCF, and that's a staff monitored program. That's the IMF staff. They monitor that program in particular, and when they are coming, they'll be looking at the parameters, the indicators, to tick the boxes whether we have done what was supposed to be done. Of course, of a little concern would be the issues of governance here and there, especially when it comes to corruption, the fight against corruption. That would be something that would be grayish in nature. But when you start to look at whether we have looked at what we should do with the foreign exchange issue, what have we done with the apart from the foreign exchange issue, what have we done with the debt issue, the money supply issue, you note that we have been doing well, quite well. Yeah. So if it is the data that they're going to be looking at, and my supposition has been that yesterday the president, the minister of finance, and maybe the governor, they tried to bring a matter of context to the IMF team, that's top leadership team in the IMF. They tried to bring in the issues of context to say, how did we get where we are? And therefore, because if you look at it, it's all about exogenous factors. So exogenous factors, you don't dream how they are going to come. They just arise, and when they have just arisen, you cannot do anything about that. So because of that, then one expects, one hopes that we are going to see a situation of they're going to come into the country, they're going to look at the situation the way it is. We should be able to tick most of the positive boxes. And if we do that, then we should be looking forward to the ECF.
Do you see an IMF ECF anytime soon?
I am seeing an ECF soon. I am seeing it because I think we have been doing this for about 2 years now. And my view is that if you look at that, I think we have done, we are doing quite well. We are doing quite well. That's on the IMF aspect. We are doing quite well.
As we're edging closer to wrapping up this conversation, Mr. Tchereni, you requested for some food, so I think that is
yes, I'm seeing breakfast. This is a tourism month, and I'm very, very happy to receive the breakfast. Thank you very much. I am seeing the chefs the way they are dressed. Oh yes, my face has lightened up.
Oh,
food is good.
Okay,
food is good. Yes,
okay,
yes.
Food
is good.
but slightly on a different note, this is also something that we were talking about earlier. We're in the tourism month.
Yes.
How are we doing?
I'll be pushing my food.
Yeah, no worries.
Yes.
Feel free to partake.
Yeah.
How are we doing in embracing the sector as a potential industry to spur economic growth?
I think we are doing relatively well. We have woken up from a deep slumber that we have been in. You may want to know that we have talked about things like, you have seen in London, we now have the taxis branded Malawi. That has never been seen. It's a first, pretty much, to have happened. And we have seen different hotel joints. We are at Amaryllis now. We have seen others. They have come to the party. And I think in terms of policy, we are doing well. In terms of advertising, thanks for the food. In terms of advertising, we are doing quite well. I think the line ministry, the Minister of Tourism, is trying to do the best that it can do. There are now issues of pricing that we need to begin to look at. Are we pricing our tourism in the facilities in the best way? Accommodation, food, etc. Maybe somehow we need to be as competitive as possible as we can be. And the other ministries, they need to come in, especially the Minister of Transport and Public Works, in terms of infrastructure provision. If I have to go to Malindi, I should not be struggling. If I have to go to Inyika, I should not be struggling. Let's have those roads. Maybe the Minister of Information and Digitization also, it needs to come in, especially on issues of internet provision in some other areas where tourists would like to be. So those are some of the areas that we can do better. But in the main, I think the past 3, 4 months, 6 months even, I think the tourism industry has been taken by storm, and I think we are going somewhere.
I don't want to take too much of your time. You're already celebrating.
Yes, there's food.
Thank you very much for always making time to visit us and have a conversation.
Thank you, much appreciated.
Still talking about tourism, hospitality industry, investor Manfred Chaponda has expressed worry that since the COVID pandemic, some businesses in the sector are failing to pick up due to economic problems and government policies. Now, Chaponda owns a Scenic Events Garden, which comprises an events garden and an entertainment center, among others, in the city of Blantyre. He said there was relief that the COVID pandemic is over. That business have been made with shortage of foreign exchange and fuel shortages, among others. Our reporter, Justin Quayle, caught up with Chaponda, and he explains.